All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva Ayadure. Today, we're going to be having an interview with David Jerome, and I'm going to be speaking about how to make revolution. What is the ingredients to make revolution, be it in science, politics, or health, or medicine, or any field? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so we'll be starting this interview shortly with David Jerome, who's out in Switzerland.
Yes. Welcome, everybody. Play the video.
All right, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. We're going to have a interview today with David Jerome out in Switzerland, and David's been wanting to interview me for a while, and so we thought this was a good time. And the topic we wanted to talk about is how do you make revolution, be it in science, politics, medicine, and any of these fields. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So let me bring in David, and we'll start our discussion. So David's taping this on Zoom, so I need to bring him in. I think there he is. David, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Shiva. I'm fine. It's a little rainy here in Switzerland, but otherwise I'm healthy. I'm ready to listen to your truth, to your originality, your power, your motivation. So I'm really looking forward to having this podcast.
All right, David. So where should we begin? There's so many places to start. Yeah.
First, I would like to just tell where I first discovered you. It wasn't that long ago. You were, I think, after the failed election of Trump. I saw you on YouTube, where you looked at the election irregularities, and I always thought you were like just a Republican or so. But after looking at listening to a lot of podcasts you did, you're somewhere like also libertarian or also leftist or independent, something maybe like a Ross Perot type, an inventor or entrepreneur type. So yeah, I would like to hear like how would you describe yourself, like politically? Where can I position you, basically?
David, so I don't know if you know, there's all these protests. I think a good place to start is, you may know, there's all these protests now taking place in all these college campuses.
Yeah.
So I was, in fact, over at MIT. I've been there a couple of times speaking with some of the students, and those students said they were very inspired to start these protests against Israel from the work of activists in the 1980s who protested apartheid. Mm-hmm. And so I went over there and I said, well, I'm the guy who started those protests. And we had this flyer we distributed out. I don't know if you can see it. It says, Dr. Shiva Ayadure supports students and workers fight against Zionism. And that's a picture of me when I was 17 or 18, burning the South African flag on the steps of MIT.
Yeah.
And so the reason so this says, in the mid 1980s, Dr. Shiva Ayadure was a student leader and editor of The Student, a revolutionary student newspaper and activist organization. Among many protests he led, the anti-apartheid and divestment movement at MIT in building a shanty town. We built like a shanty town, but we actually built it. We actually put foundation and everything, not these little tents, right?
Yeah.
In front of the MIT Student Center, and later led a massive march of 5,000 people from Boston University across the Massachusetts Avenue Bridge to the MIT Student Center, where he defiantly burned the South African flag in support of the students and workers of South Africa fighting apartheid. Dr. Shiva, the student, and its supporters also mobilized MIT food service workers to interconnect the struggle of the American workers with that of the South African workers fighting a common enemy, U.S. imperialism. Such a strategy frightened the MIT administration, who sought to contain the anti-apartheid movement to events occurring 10,000 miles away. So the reason I want to share that is, he asked me who I am.
Yeah.
My journey to that, or my journey to what you saw with the election fraud, or exposing the pandemic, running the Fire Fauci campaign, exposing fools like Booby Kennedy, or exposing fools like Trump, all these people. is
The
a journey.
elites, basically.
There's a swarm, as I call it. You know, if people haven't seen it, everyone see the Shatter the Swarm video, because it really explains the depth of what this is about. But my journey has been to really understand truth at a very deep level, truth, freedom, health, but then be able to articulate it to the everyday person, because that's where I come from. So let me repeat that again. So my journey has really been to understand the mechanics of oppression and our own liberation, and then to be able to articulate it in a very practical way. So it's not some mental masturbation or something academic or something just talking, or getting views and clicks. I'm very interested in shattering the swarm. You know, like I'm an engineer and an inventor and a scientist. Anything I do is to build something. I've been building stuff since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I enjoy building things, making things, practical things, software, physical things, you know, movements, systems, etc. So to me, this is not some theoretical discussion. 99% of the people out there in the world of academia, for that matter, on Twitter, are just talking nonsense. They'll take my stuff and talk it to get the views and clicks. It's like someone's observing, but they have no interest in building a movement, organizing people. This is a very different skill set, very different goal. One is just sort of being an academic talking nonsense. Another is being a talking head and getting views and clicks. And then there's the aspect of doing the theory and communicating, but doing all those things to mobilize a movement to create revolutionary change. And that's what I am doing. You know, in the book System and Revolution, let me get it over here. There's a very interesting, shoot, I don't have a copy of it here. Oh, here it is. So let me show you. There's a copy in the book System and Revolution that I want to read to you, right?
Okay.
Everyone should get this book, by the way, if you really want to understand what's a system and how to create revolution. It took me 40 years to write this book, but let me really, this is the first two, this is a couple of words, not 20 words or 50 words. It says, "You have nothing to lose but your chains. What is to be done?" I said, I'm starting this book with a quote from Karl Marx. Is that outrageous? Is it inflammatory? I hope so. I have 4 degrees from MIT, but I don't want to be a smart boy scientist in khakis and a sports shirt giving a TED talk and then going out for a cappuccino. One of the themes of this book will be the relationship between the center and the periphery in a human cell, in a human body, and in all aspects of human affairs. And that realization that there actually is no quote unquote center. There is no center. We keep thinking there's a center to the universe, center to stuff, but one that has been imposed on us from quote unquote above. I was definitely born in the periphery, the child of a lower caste family in India where my grandmother was a spiritual healer. But I don't want to be a wise and gentle guru telling you about the Hindu god with the head of an elephant. Here's what I do want, but it's more than quote unquote want, it's need. I need to tell you about what I've learned in my unique education and my even more unique life experiences. What I do, why do I need that? It's not to stoke my ego. It's not to be on television. It's because a time for change, radical change has arrived, and I have a role to play at this historic moment. I have tools to provide, not physical tools, but vital information for this opportunity so that we don't blow it. I feel like I've been given an assignment. I've been cast in a role. And it's not easy one to fulfill. I have to tell people the truth. And when they don't believe me, I have to change their minds. I invented the first authentic comprehensive email system when I was 14 years old, working as a research fellow at the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey. That's the truth. But it's a controversial statement. I've been called quote unquote delusional. So why don't I just forget about it? Why don't I just shut up about it? Here's why. That experience took place in the cultural context of growing up as a lower caste Indian kid, where my earliest memories as a 4-year-old was being segregated and given water in a different bowl from my quote unquote upper caste friends, and emigrating from the extremes of Bombay in a small South Indian rural village in Tamil Nadu to Newark, New Jersey. It was part of a timeline that included observing my grandmother's practice of Siddha, the oldest system of Indian medicine and healing, and also attending an elite program in computer science at New York Core Institute of Mathematical Science when I was just a 14-year-old kid. So that's what this is about. This is about revolutionary change. That's what my life has been about. Everything I do, from inventing email to Cytosolve to Systems Health to running for office, it's always pushing the envelope and moving through it. Because, you know, for me, as a kid of my background, where my parents came from, I shouldn't even be here in the United States or anything here. So everything to me is about moving the envelope. And when you ask what party I'm in the party of truth, freedom, health. That's the party I'm in. That's the organization, that's the state of consciousness.
Because left and right are illusions anyway, you know?
Well, also when I say the lesser of two evils, includes the obvious establishment and the not so obvious establishment. So it's not only the left and right, but it's the obvious and not so obvious establishment. These are the two heads of the swarm that we see. But behind those two heads, so you have Booby, Kennedy, and Trump over here, and you have the Clintons and the Jeffrey Epsteins and the Bushes over here. They're both part of the same heads, right? So it's not just left and right. The establishment has gotten a lot more sophisticated. They have the obvious establishment and the not so obvious establishment. You notice that the Zionist hoodlum Elon Musk just retweeted another Zionist cocksucker, Booby Kennedy. You see, they're all part of the Zionist network. It doesn't matter whether Trump or Biden or Booby or whoever the hell gets in. They're all right now doing a pageant, right? A beauty show of who will suck Zionist cock better. That's what's really going on. And if the establishment thinks Trump won't do it well, they'll put Booby in or Biden in, you see? So understanding the obvious and the not so obvious establishment is what this is about. So what I represent is us. I represent 8 billion of us. Not
the majority, the majority who don't have a voice.
Exactly. And this is why they try to deny me my voice. You've seen, you and I've communicated on Twitter, the level of shadow banning I undergo. And, the level of stealing my credit for things, trying to position Booby Kennedy as a guy who exposed the backdoor portal into Twitter. Elon Musk is some hero. Elon Musk is part of the establishment. Elon Musk went to Israel and sucked Zionist cock very deeply over there. So does Booby Kennedy. Booby Kennedy said the Palestinians are the most pampered people on the planet. Trump, right, does everything they jump. Why is it that I'm the only presidential candidate who clearly articulates my hatred of Zionism and also clearly articulates why it's different than Judaism? Musk put back this fool. He puts back fools back on Twitter. He can put whoever he wants on. But because of the work that I've been doing over the last nearly year, we have drawn a very clear distinction between Zionism and Judaism, and the broad public has gotten it. You can see many of these influencers cut and paste my content, which is fine. They should give credit and they should support our campaign if they had any balls. A lot of these people claim they're men, do not have the balls, not just to take my content and reuse it, but they should be supporting Shiva for president. But the reason they can't do it is because they're not interested in building a movement, Jerome. This is the difference. So to the extent they can get views and clicks and act like they're fighting, they'll do that. But then you have the other element of the not so obvious and the obvious establishment, whose aim is one singular thing. And everyone, if everyone really understands this, revolution can occur much faster. And people's consciousness revolution is basically raising people's consciousness. The outcome is just the outcome. It occurs from raising consciousness. So my job, when you ask if I'm left or right, my job is to raise people's consciousness. And there's a science to doing that. But here what we see is that the not so obvious establishment has typically been used to manipulate people, to keep them stuck to the obvious establishment. And they work hand in glove, right? So you can see someone like Elon Musk. I mean, he was brought in by Silicon Valley because to manipulate people to think that he and the big tech guys in Silicon Valley are fighting for free speech, when it's exactly the opposite. What they've created is a much more insidious form of censorship, where they give the illusion that because I'm back on the internet, oh, I got free speech, or on Twitter. But the reality is I'm kept in a digital cage, you see?
Yeah.
And that's one piece of the censorship. The other piece is they're looking at all of my followers, their characteristics, who would follow me. And then they're finding other people like that. And this is very simple to do it out algorithmically. And then they're redirecting my viewers to Booby fucking Kennedy. Because
or to Vivek, the snake who
Vivek
everyone has
Snake,
forgotten again. And well, he
right,
just appeared,
and appeared and
imitated
disappeared.
you.
Yeah. So they're bringing people in because they know I'm the real deal. They know our movement is the real deal. When was the last time that someone who came bottoms up actually earned everything he has and then decides to run for president and has mobilized a movement? This is quite problematic for the swarm. So their only solution is to attempt to make me invisible. So this is why I tell everyone listening to us who likes what we've said, you have to get off your butt. So what we've done is that this journey that I've been on since a 4-year-old kid took me to really understand the systems nature of these things in a very deep way, Jerome. David. And then I had to take this knowledge, this discoveries that I made. That's one thing, I just have it in my head, is take all this knowledge and then make it accessible to everyone on the planet. That's a whole different set of things. So I have a skill at doing that. I have a God-given skill at taking very complex knowledge and making it accessible. And this is also unfortunate for the establishment. So when I did all those videos on the election fraud, I made it very accessible. Even though there's a lot of complex math, I made it accessible. When I talked about going beyond vax and anti-vax, I talked about the immune system. I used a simple marker and a pen, like I would do it on dirt with some stick. And everyone, hundreds of millions of people throughout the world, understood what the immune system is. And then we created tools for people. Take quercetin, take zinc. You see, not only did we critique the establishment, but then we gave people tools to do it for themselves. And then when it came to Fire Fauci, we made a very simple hashtag Fire Fauci, which, by the way, all the Johnny-come-latelys waited a year to reuse to raise money off of. Okay? So we are literally, the work I've done is literally teaching people the mechanics of creating revolution. But you cannot, I'm sorry, but you cannot,
I think no, please continue.
But you cannot make revolution without understanding what is revolution. And that you have to study theory. I have a lot of people come to our movement from all different backgrounds. And we have to do a very, very hard job because we have this very fundamental theoretical framework. People can learn it. It's based on engineering system science.
Yeah.
So you have people whose educational systems are very diverse. And the educational system has dumbed down people to make everything a soundbite. I can do sound bites. I've won major ad awards, but I'm not interested. I can come up with really good sound bites. Zionist cocksucker. It's a pretty good sound bite. Okay. Shatter the swarm. Good sound bite. Okay. And I can keep going on because I love writing poetry and all that.
Memes and hashtags.
Yeah. But these sound bites, behind them is absolute core theory. So when we say ceasefire now is a bogus slogan, the right slogan is end the occupation of Zionism in America. If you want a free Palestine. Free Palestine is just a white liberal slogan or a multiracial liberal, quote unquote, a liberal slogan. It's not addressing the real issue. It's people can feel good. Oh, I'm doing this demonstration, free Palestine. What's a really, really innocuous slogan because it doesn't say how you're going to get there. And free Palestine, ceasefire now have been slogans which are ineffective by design. These slogans were created by the not so obvious establishment. That's what people need to understand.
Yeah.
When you see a slogan have no teeth to it, you have to recognize this was done by design. This is not revolutionary slogans. Free Palestine, ceasefire now are not so obvious establishment slogans. They sound good. This is how the not so obvious establishment is very clever. You feel like you're doing something. They sound good. But then when you rip it apart, what is behind free Palestine? How are you going to free Palestine?
Yeah.
There's no teeth to it. The way you're going to free it, if you want to put teeth into that, you have to say, end the occupation of Zionism in America. That's teeth.
Start from within, from your neighborhood, not
There you
just
go.
get distracted by far away things that you can't really control.
That's why this flyer, this is in 1984 when I was burning that flag. But what we did, I learned as a kid, you see, because of my background, I'm not some white liberal kid who wants to protest because I'm on college now and then I'm going to leave. So I'll give you the example. In 1980s, universities had investments in South Africa. Their endowments, and they were making money off that. There were one group of people who said, oh, these universities are helping the poor black folk. We're sending at least money over there. Why do you want to stop sending money? It's a very dumb argument. The second group of people are these, frankly, bourgeois, petty bourgeois kids who wanted to help the people of Africa. Yeah. It's like those movies you see of people with bloated bellies and they ask people to give them money. It was that kind of thing, right? You feel good like you're doing something at least. But that trend at MIT or any university was, stop apartheid now. That's like no teeth to it. You say?
Yeah.
But those same kids
just fighting the symptoms kind of without looking at the real cause,
exactly.
The real corruption.
The real corruption and saying something which is 10,000 miles away. Now it's good to show solidarity to those people's struggles. But these same white kids and some black kids, right? Bourgeois kids, within 1 mile of MIT is a lot of poor neighborhoods, poor black neighborhoods. They would be afraid to go there. Now, 1984 or 5, I was living in Dorchester, Massachusetts, which is predominantly all black because I grew up in Patterson and Newark and, this kind of places, right? But these white kids are talking about helping the black man in South Africa. But they would not go into these black neighborhoods, which are miles away. They wouldn't even go into parts of MIT, you see?
Yeah.
And this is similar to Columbia University. It's up in Upper Harlem, right? A lot of black people. So yes, it's good they're doing these protests, but they don't have the teeth to them because they're not going and mobilizing the neighborhood, which is all blacks. So there's oppression right there within a 1 mile radius. But it's okay to be a college student and to talk about oppression 10,000 miles away. So what we did at MIT, this is the 1980s, was we mobilized the food service workers on campus. We're right there. These are people who service their food. These are people who clean the toilets at MIT. They weren't being given proper health care, proper wages. So we mobilized blacks and white workers and interconnected the apartheid in South Africa to the apartheid right home, the economic apartheid, you say? Yeah. And this is why when I burned the South African flag, we had full support. Even the police stepped back because they knew the custodial workers, the food service workers were behind us. It's very different. So we are talking about building a bottoms-up movement. What has occurred globally is that the establishment has one singular goal right now, and everyone should really write this down. The singular goal is very simple: to demoralize you from ever building a bottoms-up movement of independent, like Truth, Freedom, Health, led by guys like me. That's what they want. Their entire goal is to demoralize you. So you never build a bottoms-up movement of working people bottoms up with truly independent leaders. And once you understand that, the goal is to demoralize you. So you say, oh, wow, they're so powerful, we can't do it. Or, oh, wow, we have to settle for Booby. Yeah, Booby's a Zionist fucking cocksucker, but he did say something against vaccines. And by the way, what did he actually say? He said, I believe in full vaccination of all Americans. And then I think I can create safe vaccines. But he sucks Zionist cock very deeply. You can hear it in his throat. A lot of Zionist cocksucking. So they have, and then people will be demoralized by these leaders. And then people create learned helplessness. Well, I guess you can't really do much. This is why 60% of people in the United States do not vote. They don't even participate.
They lost all hope and trust
And that is a
and all
goal.
the
That is the goal.
politicians. Yeah, all politicians, the mass media also, people don't trust it and then become passive and hopeless and just kind of wait until they die, basically.
Exactly.
There are now students. They even CNN shows them how they're protesting. But if you just if like the normal people, working people, just watch it and say, "Oh, it's nice that they're protesting," but they're not motivated to do something themselves, to improve something themselves, and it's also kind of making you passive and just become a watcher. So how do you really mobilize people? How were you successful?
I want to play this video for you. Look, the
Mm-hmm.
only way to change the world at a fundamental level and to create revolution is to raise consciousness.
Yeah.
Now, and the issue is, the good news is, as an educator, as some, if you look at people who've really learned a skill, like a master carpenter or a master karate teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not here to convince everybody, because my time is valuable too. I'm not going to waste my time on people who are just, dicking around. So our movement, number one, recognize that we have cracked the code on this. We have identified, discovered the science of how to build a revolution. There is a science. You want to build an iPhone, you better know certain physics. You want to build a good microphone, you better know, wave theory. You want to build anything, you better understand the physics. There is a physics to creating a revolution. System and revolution has a core elements of it. But you need to study theory. You need to go practice. Just like anything, where you want to get strong, there's a science to building muscle. There's a science to eating proper foods. There's a science to all this. And you get it from people who actually studied it. So number one, we need to find those people who actually are humbled and they say, shit, I voted for Obama. Now I voted for doofus Trump. Then I voted for blah. They're humbled by saying, shit, I don't know what the fuck is going on. How could I be fooled? So they're ready to really learn, number one. Number two, we mobilize those people because we are creating the tip of the spear of this, because we don't have time for people who think Booby is okay or Trump is okay, because they need to percolate. They need to make all their mistakes, frankly, David. Okay.
Yeah. So you're building a core team of new leaders. Yeah, globally.
Yeah. So now we have close to half a billion people during COVID, et cetera, had great respect for the work I did, and people, the word spread everywhere before the censorship occurred in 2021. Where they really said, "Holy shit, this guy's reaching people." There was a window between 2019 and 2021 when I got the stuff out to so many people. Okay. But in 2021, they said, shit, this guy's really dangerous. He's actually one of them. He's got a brain. He's figured shit out. He knows how we're manipulating people. So that's when the shadow banning and the sophistication took place. That's when they started plagiarizing my work to appear like they're fighting for you, right? But the bottom line is, we are mobilizing those people, who want to really be self-reflective. So we have about 500,000 of those people all over the world at different stages. Then we're creating leaders all over the world. But what we are doing is we're going back to very fundamental principles that we need to build a movement. We're playing the long game. There is no urgency, but yet things are urgent, but there's no urgency, because the urgency is how the establishment, David, manipulates people. They say, oh my God, we're going to have World War III. You may not believe a Trump, but he's going to save the world. So yeah, Dr. Shiva says perfect things, but we need Trump right now. And this is what's been the recurrent process for 50 years. Oh yeah, we have to choose the lesser of two evils. So they manipulate people with urgency, right? There is no urgency. If the establishment wants to start World War III, we can't do anything about it. Let them go do it. Let them blow up some countries. If they want to go do another pandemic, they can do that. But what we must do is to build a movement, a bottoms-up movement of our people. People like me leading it, not people like Booby Kennedy Trump. People came from below who knows what it is to, who has dirt underneath their fingernails, right? Who knows what it means to work hard. And that is what people need to do. They got to get away of this urgency. They got to go, shit, I don't know what the fuck I don't know, right? I'm aware. I've become conscious of what I don't know. And this guy's figured shit out. And I'm going to learn this material. Then I'm going to go practice. I'm going to be a true working class. I'm going to be loyal to my class of working people, which are the 8 billion of us. I'm not going to stab our own people in the back. And people do this in subtle ways, David. They stab themselves in the back. This is what's unfortunate. People stab themselves in the back.
Yeah.
By every time you think Booby Kennedy is you're stabbing, you might as well slit your own throat. If you think Trump is going to be your savior, you might as well take a gun and shoot yourself, because that's what you're doing. You're committing suicide to yourself and your children. Because when you look at the arc of all of this, for the last 70 years, life expectancy in the United States is going down. It didn't just happen in the last 4 years. The policies of these people, the obvious and the not so obvious establishment, the swarm, has been to destroy your health. They eat organic food. They get all the best foods, but they've created the food system. They've created income inequality. They've created destruction of the atmosphere, right? All of this they've done. All of them should be indicted on this, every single one of them. Because you and I did not have the power that they had, David, and they still do. So the only way out of this is we have to shatter the swarm, which means we need revolutionary change. You cannot accept little tweaks anymore, because the life expectancy is going like this by design. So once this becomes clear, once you realize that they exist to demoralize you, to never build a bottoms-up movement. Now, once you get over that, and we have people get over that, now they're ready to learn. Now you have a student who's ready to learn. And those are the people that we can really build something out of. You can't build something out of people who think they know it all, who have all sorts of fucked up, wacky ideas. They've never studied. They don't do the work. They have stupid ideas like, oh, why is Dr. Shiva using negative words? Well, because you should against these people. You need to use language against these people, and you need to disrespect them, because if you don't, you're affecting your own brain, right? So these people,
you need to be honest and be see the truth, the corruption, the truth of the corruption, or corruption of the truth, directly into its face, its ugly face, and then free yourself from it.
Yeah, it's basically you're letting go of your own abuser. Okay. These people are abusers.
The Stockholm syndrome, you see.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Booby Kennedy, he abuses everyone he's been around. Trump abuses everyone. Biden abuses everyone. All of these people are abusers. They are master manipulators. There's a wonderful video showing how this group called ZAKA is a group that goes and rescue, when they're a Zionist organization, which goes and picks up all dead bodies. And when these people picked up all the dead bodies, they did the show, oh my God, we saw babies beheaded, babies beheaded, and just lying through their teeth, and they're crying. That's all bullshit.
Yeah.
You have to understand, these people are professional bullshitters, professional liars. Actors. They have acting coaches. They have people who tell them what to wear, right? Trump is a professional actor. Booby fucking TV. Kennedy is an actor. I've seen him.
Puppets, you can also say puppets of the elites.
They're puppets, and the reason they're selected is because they're not Hollywood level actors. As Gore Vidal said, politicians are ugly Hollywood actors. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what they are. And so these people are actual actors. Right now, the presidential elections are actually beauty pageants or acting pageants. Who will fuck you over the best? Who can convince you better? A friend of mine was out at Harvard, where the encampment is, and these two women, oh, we're going to vote for Booby. And he goes, oh, but he's a Zionist cocksucker. Are you aware of that? They go, what do you mean? Well, he said, the Palestinian people are the most pampered people on the planet. Did you know that?
Mhm.
Did you know that he said that he wants to vaccinate everyone? Did you know that? And these people don't know it because they want to suck Kennedy cock. They
Mhm.
do not want to liberate themselves. And it's typically the, the bourgeois who do this, right? They're sort of,
Yeah.
they just want to be in a club. So fundamentally, we need to understand, in order to make revolution, we must understand what is a revolution. And before you can understand what is a revolution, you need to understand what is a system. So that's how it goes. So when I wrote System and Revolution, this was everyone should read it, because if you're serious, you have to study it. You have to read it like at least 20 times. And then I put a curriculum together. It's like I've created a new field of engineering system science. So I came across this knowledge base when I looked at engineering systems theory and I looked at ancient systems of medicine. The bridge between that is the system science that I uncovered, which shows that there are 9 principles that govern every system on the planet. Engineering principles. Engineers know about these. And without those principles, we can never have a revolution. It'll be dead on arrival. Just like without understanding Maxwell's equations, you could never create an iPhone or a phone or cellular phone.
Mhm.
Without understanding the laws of wave theory, you could never create this microphone. You just can't.
Yeah.
So people think they're going to create a movement and change the world without being a good student. You're out of your fucking mind. You're just playing. So I'm not interested in that. So we have now mobilized people all over the world, who are understanding this. And it's occurring because they're seeing somebody who speaks truth, real truth, not just wears a hat that says truth,
Mhm.
right? So number one, what is a system? So if before you can understand what a revolution is, you understand what a system is.
Yeah.
So once you understand what a system is, you can then realize systems operate at different vibrational states. And these transitions, a system goes from this state to this state or this state to this state. That's called a phase transition. Simple example. Again, I make it very simple. Ice going to water, water going to steam. Same system of H2O molecules, but under different conditions, they go to these different, that's a phase transition. Today, we live in a certain type of, right? And what is the difference in ice, water, and gas? It's the distance of the water molecules, right? How far the interconnections. They're different, right?
Yeah.
When it's solid, they're much closer. It forms crystal structures, liquid, etc., right? Well, it is the interconnections between us as human beings, the relationships, that determine the nature of a system. When you have a system that the relationships between human beings are governed by capital, by exploitation of one human versus another, you have this system. But this has not always been the case. There have been systems in humankind where we had societies where people did not own property. The relationships between human beings are very different. And so now we have a system of politics, of governance, which is based on this fundamental notion that I own you. I own this. I own the air, right? I own natural resources. So we've ended up with this system. And the only way out of it is to recognize that these systems can undergo changes. Nothing is inevitable. That's where the demoralization comes from. So you'll hear
Now,
people saying, oh, well, humans are just bad.
yeah.
We're just bad. So you just have to accept things. So once you understand the nature of all systems, the principles, you understand what a revolution is. A revolution is a phase transition. And then you realize that these phase transitions occur when things start vibrating at a certain level. And it doesn't have to be every particle. So if we look at humans all over the world, where enough people raise their consciousness to understand this, revolutionary change occurs literally overnight. And you can see that throughout history. You didn't have to have everyone getting it, but enough people vibrating. And that's what's happening with our movement. 4 years ago, when we exposed Trump, we were attacked. I lost 20% of my followers. When in the medical freedom movement, you have a lot of people giving this doofus Kennedy money, right? When we started exposing him, now you go on the internet, people expose him without me having to do it. So we raised the vibration of people. People are realizing, wait a minute, he says this, but he wants to suck Zionist cock. What's up with that? How can you say you run Children's Health Defense Fund, but you're okay with bombing children in Gaza? Like, this doesn't compute. Are you really willing to accept these contradictions?
Mhm.
So that's fundamentally what's going on, David. David, do you mind if I play this video? Is that all right?
Please play it, yeah.
I don't know if, let me see, I may have to do it. Hold on. I have to, I think, share it. I think I have to share it. Hold on. I think I have to share it. I have to go, hold on. I think what I can do is I think I can play it like this. We both share the same screen and I'll play it. Hold on. So I recommend everyone, first of all, David, I'm going to share with you. Okay. You need to give me screen sharing. So, yep, you just make me the co-host even, or just make me co-host and you can click on me, the 3 dots on my screen. There's 3 dots there. If you put your cursor on my window, yep, no, to the right of it, there's 3. Yep, you can make host and I'll bring back host to you. Okay. So I think I'm host now. Oops, did you do it? Okay, great. So let me share this screen with people so your audience can see it. And let me have my audience also see it. Okay. So I want everyone to go to Truth, Freedom, Health. We've made this site, again, it's an educational site, but the slogan is Get Educated or Be Enslaved. So I've created an entire curriculum, an entire system, a community, all these tools, so people can actually get smart, get street smart, and go beyond left or right, pro or anti. And when you go through the site, there are 2 videos right here, David, okay? One is a swarm video every man, woman, and child on this planet should see, and the other is this video, okay? Which is what I'm going to play now. So I think if I play this, hopefully everyone will hear it. So here we go. We have allowed our country to be taken over from within, and the end goal is you will have a homogenized world where we will become slaves, because there is a condition among the elites that really thinks they're better than you, deep down inside them, that you don't deserve the freedoms you have. They don't. This reality is what people need to wake up to, and we need to all unite, working people. There's only one movement that can do that, and that is the movement that we started creating here in Massachusetts, the movement for truth, freedom, and health. Look, I've been a student of politics since I was a 4-year-old kid, studying revolutionary movements, left wing, right wing. There's a physics, there's a nuclear science to destroying the establishment. To build a bridge, you need to understand Newton's equation. You need to understand the laws of gravity. You need to understand Poisson's ratio. There is a way to build a revolution. And that's why I put this together. My goal is to train an army of truth, freedom, and health leaders. We don't need followers like social media. We need leaders, but they need training, because the educational system does not teach them history, nothing. So in 3 hours, that's what I've started doing. That's the solution. We got to train people first with understanding what a system is, the dynamics of all systems that affect nature. The second is understanding the interconnection between truth, freedom, and health. Freedom is the ability to move freely, communicate freely, talk freely. Without freedom, you cannot convert ideas, hypothesis into truth, which is science. And without freedom, you can't really get to truth. And without truth, you make up fake problems and fake solutions, which means you destroy our health. And without health, which is the infrastructure of us and our body, you can't fight for freedom. Truth, freedom, health. Third concept is it has to be bottoms up. Working people, people who work uniting. And what the right wing has done is whenever you say working people unite, that must be communist. Meanwhile, they'll let the Democrats run unions, which suppress workers, completely corrupt. But when you look at the arc of American history, it's been when working people came up. We need to go local. Every solution I'm coming up with as a part of this movement, we're giving the science, which is the truth, and then we tell people what they can do on the ground. Like with election fraud, you don't need to wait for some lawyer. Our goal is to train people to go local, to go local, to go local. Fight locally. Forget lawyers, forget politicians, forget celebrities. You've got to learn politics, and there is a science to it. They lock us down, we should be ready to shut them down. And the fourth part of this principle is a not so obvious establishment. So when you look at a system, there's always something that disturbs you from getting to your goal. Well, the biggest disturbance is the not so obvious establishment, which are those people who claim they're for you, on the left and the right. The Al Sharptons who tell black people I'm for you. The Tucker Carlsons. Do you think any true anti-establishment person will ever be on Fox or CNN? I don't think so. They both mislead working people back into the establishment. Without this solid understanding of political physics and theory, you're screwed. You're going to follow on the left wing, Bernie Sanders. Oh, he said something. Or Robert Kennedy. Scumbags. Or you're going to follow some right-wing talk show host. They're not going to lead us to liberation. It's us. We're building a bottoms-up movement. And that political physics, it's a nuclear science of change. Bottoms up. We have to organize to understand that there is people who talk a good game and then look at what they actually do, left and right. I'm sorry, Sean Hannity may say some good things, but I don't see the urgency in his voice to get something done. And it can only come when you weaponize yourself with the right knowledge. You need to be able to identify a rat. You know, Christ didn't go after the Romans, right? It was the Pharisees and the Sadducees who screwed him up. His own quote unquote people. And that's where we're at. So these 4 concepts I've built into a curriculum where people can go to truthfreedomhelp.com, and it's an educational program. We need to train people in political theory. You need to have physics, and I've created that curriculum. People need to get educated. We need to get educated fast. And within a half an hour, I can teach people 2 years of MIT control systems. I teach people those concepts. Then I apply it. Anyone can understand it. And then you say, oh, I got to build a bottoms-up movement. They have to get politically astute, and then they have to go locally and act, not sit there on social media. They have to act locally, defy locally, do civil obedience locally, but with knowledge on how to build a movement. The Senate campaign's expanded to the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health, and they can find it on truthfreedomhelp.com, so people can sign in. They can get access to a bunch of videos. If they want to take a course and become a Truth, Freedom, Health leader, I offer a full scholarship there, but we want people to make a commitment that they'll study, that they'll get certified, that they'll go do activities on the ground. So go to truthfreedomhelp.com.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you react immediately, not in 1 or 2 years. It's a natural, spontaneous, true reaction that you show, and
Right.
then you mobilize the crowd.
Right. So the people, I'm sorry, my volume was turned up, but what we're saying we do is that fundamentally we're educating people to get off their butts. We've created this
Yeah.
entire, almost a revolution university, right? A
Yeah.
revolution community. But we don't, we take it very seriously. You can't just be dilettante. Oh, you know, some people say, well, why do you call these people names? That's not nice. It's like, shut the fuck up is my answer to them. You still haven't gotten it. Maybe you need to be abused for 10 more years, and then you'll understand who these people are, because you haven't studied the theory well enough. The theory reveals that we must build a bottoms-up movement. These people must be disrespected because they're absolutely evil. They don't give a fuck about you. So that knowledge is what we get across, right? And so we've created this entire infrastructure. Email was an infrastructure for communication. Cytosolve is an infrastructure for molecular systems. You know, Truth, Freedom, Health is an infrastructure for those people who really want to figure it out and learn and to fight. It's a warrior scholar program. And so, you know, it's an innovation. That's what it is. But if you don't have this, you're going to follow Bernie Sanders. Then you're going to think Booby Kennedy. And you won't forget that all of these people, like you were saying, Jerome, are puppets. They're owned, they're operated. They're just figuring out, okay, let's give Booby a little bit of more press right now because Trump is, you know, being hammered by prostitutes over here. Okay, we need, but you know, they're just figuring out, like, you know, in the villages in India, they have a hook that they put on the cows and they lead them. Which hook can they put into your nose to lead you around?
Yeah, which idol or podcast celebrity like Joe Rogan, that's also a huge distractor.
Exactly. Rogan is a Zionist cocksucker. Fucker Carlson, and every one of these people, we've done the custodial work, like cleaning the toilets of exposing these people. And every time we do that, two things happen. All the jackasses who want to think someone's going to save them leave us, which is great. But then we get much more solid people who think about this. And that's what we need.
I think we also just need to look ourselves in the mirror, not always go into Twitter or Netflix and kind of distract ourselves, but look at ourselves in the mirror and then try to imagine what kind of leader and activist we can become, kind of work on ourselves. That's, I think, is missing with a lot of people.
Yeah, some fool today on Twitter said, someone said, oh, why don't you interview Dr. Shiva? And he said, oh, I tried to interview him, but he stood me up and, you know, he's very smart, but he's not likable. It's like, this guy's a fucking idiot because he's get everything that came out of his mouth, someone put in. He's not even thinking, right? They say, oh, you have to be likable to be a president. Likable to who? Likable to Zionist cocksuckers. You see?
Yeah.
And by the way, this guy, it's just a bogus thing. He never, I've looked through all of our calendars. There's not even one. His name is Jeff Dorkin. Fucked up name, a dork. But my point is that people, I always look at what questions people ask. If it's a real question, it'll be a real question. But most people's questions are just programmatic questions. Someone told them this is the norm of how you behave. And this is all about behavior to be exploited and be on the plantation. As Malcolm X said in the time of slavery, which by the way still exists, right? You had the house slaves. When the master's house burned down, they'd be more concerned, oh my God, the master's house is burning down. And then there were field slaves. The field slaves got off the plantation. When the master's house burned down, they were excited. They were very, very happy. So these people are actually field slave, house slaves.
Yeah.
They're so concerned about these celebrities. They're so concerned about Trump, whether his golden toilet has shit on it or not, you know, whether he's going to lose some lawsuit. And meanwhile, Trump is taking money from them. They only have $400. The average American only has $400 in their bank account. And they're writing checks out to a guy who pays prostitutes $130,000, right? To hide what he did, right? That's what they're about, right? So so I don't really want to waste my time with people who are on the house slaves. If you're a house slave, please stay there. Stay there all day long. You want to wear 5 masks? I'll give you a 6th one, you know? So we have to recognize that we have to have some respect for ourselves. If you want to be enslaved, I'll say it once or twice, but if you want to keep being enslaved, then go do that. You become basically, at this point, you're an enemy of mine because you're serving the swarm. But those people who are sincere and want to get off, I like talking to those people, you know?
So you gathered now a mix of people who are disillusioned with the elites and the normal party system in the US, and also very international backgrounds, all kinds of people. So you just I think to really create a successful revolution, we just need to focus on the basics of starting local and keep telling the truth, staying
Interconnecting
focused.
So step one is you need to
Mm-hmm.
understand what a system is.
Yeah.
Really get it. Theory. Without theory, there will be no revolutionary change.
And you give a course on truth,
We
freedom,
figured out the theory.
health.com,
Now,
right?
it's not just a course, it's a foundations of systems. I used to teach this at MIT. This
Yeah.
knowledge is what the elites learn, David.
Yeah.
George Soros is one of the founders of reflexivity theory, which is a part of system science. You have to really look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, how is it that 8 billion people haven't crushed these people already for all the exploitation they do? How is it that pharaohs kept people in chains, right, to build pyramids? You have to ask yourself, how the fuck do they do this?
How does propaganda work so easily for
right,
millennia?
but you will find out that they have a framework of understanding system science. They understand two of the principles are controllability and observability. They observe. They're constantly doing an observation. Which way are people going? And then
The
if people are
trends.
going away from them, they input something into the system to bring you back on course, their course. No different than a pilot. He sees a plane go off course. He adjusts the wings. He adjusts the ailerons, right? And he adjusts the fuel to bring it back on course. They are observing right now, this video. They're gathering enough messages, all these tweets. They're saying, holy fuck, people really are getting this. So when I came out and I exposed Zionism for what it is, people never had articulated the difference between Zionism and anti-Semitism, right? Very clearly. They said, holy shit, this video Zionist cocksucker is going viral. He is saying he's the only presidential candidate who does not suck Zionist cock. Who's ever spoken like that? No, an MIT PhD is supposed to be in his box. He should be speaking in a much different way. He should be speaking with high syllabic words and talking about polemics and whatever, right? We're not supposed to say Zionist cocksucker. Well, in spite of all the shadow banning, that got close to 2 million views. So they have that data, David. They're seeing that, right? They're seeing this data. Their sensors are saying danger, danger, right? So what they do is they create some fake anti-Zionists. You can see them on Twitter. This guy, Jackson Hunkel, complete doofus, right? Talk the talk, but they have no interest in building a movement.
Even Bernie Sanders is back on CNN and say, "Oh yeah, I'm against Israel. I'm not anti-Semitic. He's a Jew himself, but I'm against Israel, and that should be." He's trying to find like a compromise,
right?
Kind of like something.
Right. So they're saying all this bullshit because the more I have exposed Zionism for what it is, which has gone viral, and because the clarity in which I expose is, people are saying, "Wait a minute, Dr. Shiva's right. Zionism is anti-Semitic." 99.999% of the people did not know that Zionists collaborated with Nazis until I shared it broadly. 99.99% of the people did not know that Zionists disarmed Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto. I shared that. So this knowledge has now gone out. It is also much more powerful knowledge than the fools like Kanye West or Nick Fuentes, an idiot, who is an anti-Semite. He does promote Hitler, you see? So Elon Musk will let him back on because they want to confuse the sharp difference between Zionism and anti-Semitism. You see, they
trying to create a polarity so that the left and the right
or a conflation. They want to conflate Zionism, anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. And this is why you just saw 2 weeks ago they passed a bill in Congress. Okay? All of this is from, I'm going to take credit for it. It is from our work of educating people, because this stuff goes viral in a deep way. When you hit the atom, when you split an atom, it goes viral. So the knowledge of truth, freedom, health goes at the systemic thing, and it goes viral, and other people pick on it, goes viral. You see? When I mean viral, it creates waves of consciousness. Exactly. So when we exposed Fauci, that created a wave. When we exposed the election fraud, that created a wave. Now, some people ride this wave not to change things, but to profit from it. Trump profited from all my work on election fraud. I mean, when I met with him, it's like, my question was, where did this $500 million go? Do you really want to solve election fraud? Mike Lindell made money off my work, right? He sold more pillows. There are people right now, Booby fucking Kennedy stole all my work and writes a book a year and a half later about Fauci. If you go look at 2020, saying nothing against Fauci, nothing. He promoted lockdowns, right? So our movement teaches people that telling the truth has now become a commodity. Every fucking idiot tells the truth. But when are they telling the truth? Fucker Carlson talking about, oh, 9/11. Oh, yeah. Well, when are you telling it? 30 years later, right? When are you telling the truth? Are you telling the truth at the right time? Are you telling the truth to mobilize people into action so they can shatter the swarm? Or are you telling the truth to get views and clicks after it's irrelevant? That is a scumbag. That's what these influencers do. Joe Rogan, scumbag. Booby Kennedy, scumbag. Elon Musk, scumbag. Okay? So our movement is here. So no one has an excuse. So in the United States, we say, vote for Dr. Shiva for president. What's the simplest action? Go to Shiva for president. Get a bumper sticker. Okay? Just go get a bumper sticker. It's very easy because when you get a bumper sticker, again, most of us work for a living, right? We don't have the luxury of, paid to be an activist. We go get a bumper sticker, you put this on the back of your car, 100,000 people see this. So we've had to create actions that people can do. I'll give you another one if I can share screen again, okay? If people go to shivaforpresident.com, if you go to shivaforpresident.com, maybe you can share it on your end, okay? If people go to shiva4president.com, you will see on that website, if you can share that, Jerome. Do you know how to do that? You hit share screen. Or I can do it. I can do it. If you give me sharing rights, I'll do it. Just make me host again. So one is you go get a bumper sticker. The value of a bumper sticker, actually, I think, tell me if you've done it. Okay, so let me share the screen here, right? So if you go to Shiva for President, we've made this a very utilitarian site. Obviously, you can volunteer, and everyone listening, go and volunteer. If you want to donate to us, know that when you donate, I actually give you a ton of stuff. So if you go to this donate thing, you see all these gifts that I give you. You donate me stuff, I give you knowledge. I give you 15, all different kinds of gifts because I want you to learn. But one of the things we have here is the free downloads. If you can see that. In the free downloads area, what we've done is we've put together this flyer. This is old school. You can, by the way, there's a PDF. You can print it out in Espanol, English. And what this flyer has, you can print it on black and white even. It says the lesser of two evils. Now, the lesser of two evils is the obvious and not so obvious establishment. Look what they've been doing. They've been destroying our lifespan. This is the United States lifespan is going down. And then we explain to people what's a swarm. Then we give our campaign video. Then we give how you can get yourself out of it. And then we invite people to come to our town halls. Every Tuesdays and Thursdays, David, we do a town hall. Every Thursdays, twice at 11 a.m. and 8 p.m., we do a town hall. We do an open house. Yes, and everyone can come. And how many presidential candidates let you directly ask them questions without filters? That's what we do. So people can come. They can join us. You can meet other people. You'll get inspired. Oh my God, there's people from Lithuania. There's people from France. There's people from Italy. There's people from England. There's people from Nebraska. You see all these people. So now you get out of your hovel thinking that it's demoralization. You can't do anything. You see all these amazing people. Okay. Exactly. So that's one of the fundamental things that we're doing, right? We are not just giving people hope, we're making people accountable. You can't whine, oh, I guess I can only have to do. No, there's this movement right here. It's being led by working people. Everyone in our movement, David, is bottoms up. There's no PR consultant here, right? There's not like someone else running this movement. And everything here is based on meritocracy. So you learn, you study, right? You work, people get to go through leadership process. And it's a program we've created, no different than going through a leadership program. So we're here. And the opportunity is for all of you to get involved at whatever level you want to get. If you want to, in the United States, you can just support, put a bumper sticker up. If you're outside of the United States, you can get a Truth Freedom Health thing. You can go download a flyer, hand it out to your friends. You can
Yeah.
mobilize people. You can learn. We have varying. You can learn leadership. You can learn how to manage people. We have to teach people project management. We teach people stuff that they would spend, a lifetime learning. So we've been forced to do this because the educational system doesn't teach people enough. There's people who don't know how to use a computer. We'll get them a computer. Some cases.
Yeah.
People don't know how to use a spreadsheet. We have to teach them how to use a spreadsheet. We teach people project planning. So all of this is coming from everyday people who were denied access to this knowledge. So that's what we're doing.
So you're really connecting people and creating a community, companionship. So yeah, I think I'm very curious to check out all your knowledge on your homepage, the systems theories, and joining the Zoom conferences.
Yeah, get involved, David, because we have a lot of people in Europe, United Kingdom, Italy. We have people in Switzerland. But what we do is, as people come up, we don't just say, "Oh, you're a good guy." We wait until people do well, and then we ask them if they want to go into a leadership program.
Yeah.
So in Switzerland, I think, you seem very self-reflective. You should get involved. I do a lot of stuff with podcasters. Many people like what I say, but then they don't go do any of the learning. So I hope you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep in contact with you. Thank you for your generosity, for your great knowledge and great presentation. And hope we'll keep in touch and have a nice day, Dr.
Yes,
Shiva.
be well. I know it's getting late for you. Be well, David. I'm going to continue wrapping up here. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Be
you
well.
very much.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Bye-bye. God bless you. So everyone, that is David Jerome, and I wanted to do this conversation with him, but the goal is for all of you to recognize that we've created a movement. In the United States, all of you can get involved with Shiva for President. Outside of it, you can build a movement to shatter the swarm all over the world. We have people all over the world. So what are the action steps you can do? Well, one of the first action steps you can do is you can come to our next open house, and it's right there, okay? You can also go to Truth Freedom Health, support what we're doing. But when you support us, we support you. Become a warrior scholar. Go to truthfromhealth.com. Share the Shatter the Swarm video with as many people as you know. People love the video. It really explains to them. But we need you to learn and study. Get involved. And we've made enough vehicles for you to be involved. The other thing I can't overemphasize is that to the extent we expose the swarm, the obvious, not so obvious establishment, we've always also created tangible solutions that will enable you. We have the Truth Freedom Health platform, so you can become a leader. We've created Systems Health. Systems Health, we have a workshop actually coming up a couple of weekends from now, and I'll put it I'll put it out there, but you can go to, let me bring this up here. You can go to systemshealth.com, but specifically, you can go to this URL right here, which I'll share workshop.cambridge.systemshealth.com. And this program enables you to become a health educator. We teach you the principles of systems that can be applied to your body as a system. And this May 24th, 25th, 26th, we do a summit here, but it's part of an overall educational program where you can really educate people how the body is a system, how to enable people to find the right solution for the right person at the right time. We also have Cytosol, which is a very powerful technology that is a technology that enables you to become your own citizen scientist. For 16 years, we've helped figure out what are the right medicines, how to create new medicines from natural products. You can also use this to create all different kinds of new medicines, new solutions. So we have created a way that we can, without the need for animal testing, we can take any major disease, any major biological function, really understand it at the molecular systems level, and then find interventions which fundamentally can beneficially change it. So all of you can get involved in that. As an example, we we're going after 35 major diseases using this technology. We identified all the molecular pathways, and then we figure out how to mathematically compute them. And then we start testing natural compounds. And then recently we've actually created we manufactured it. So we went end to end for, in this case, natural discomfort, and swelling and inflammation. So we discovered something, and then we've just recently learned how to market it. But the point is that entire process, all of you can do. So if you're living somewhere, or you know people who have some recipe or some formulation that really works, but you don't know why it works, using CytoSolve, we can discover why it works, and then understand the science and get it out there. So I'm going to play for you this video on MV25, which is an example of the CytoSolve technology.
Millions of people suffer every day from painful discomfort and swelling, but most pain medications come with harsh side effects, and many alternative supplements have little scientific backing. That's why we at CytoSolve created MV25. MV25 was formulated using the CytoSolve Computational Systems Biology Platform, a technology for precision and personalized health invented by Dr. Shiva during his doctoral research at MIT. This formulation is the result of computing trillions of potential combinations of biomolecular interactions derived from thousands of peer-reviewed scientific papers published across 4 decades by 68 research institutions to discover an optimal synergy of compounds that downregulate biomarkers of discomfort and normal swelling.
Hi, I'm Barbara Ann. My hands would cramp up so that I couldn't hold cards or knit or crochet, and they would go like that. And I'd have to use this when I played cards with my grandkids. And I started taking that MV25. After a bit, I was able to hold cards in my hand, very, very little cramping, hardly at all anymore. MV25.
Hi, my name is Sandy. I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I tore my ACL during Taekwondo. I had a lot of pain and limited mobility. I've been taking the MV25 for about 6 months now. After the first week, I noticed a big difference. After the second week, almost literally no pain.
My name is Jeremy, and I suffer from a lower back problem. Hurt my back at work years ago, and I can go to the chiropractor, do all kinds of different things, and nothing seems to help. And I decided to try MV25. I didn't notice a difference immediately, but within a few days the pain went away, and it stayed away. I've continued to take it, and even when I do things that I shouldn't do, it seems to go away a lot quicker than it ever did before.
MV25 is certified clean, 100% non-GMO, made in America, and GMP certified for good manufacturing practices. MV25 is CytoSolve optimized, which means that this formula has been engineered to maximize benefits while minimizing toxicity based on current research curated by CytoSolve. As the science advances, so will this formulation. This is our promise. Order online at mv25.life. Consult your doctor before taking any supplement or medication and use as directed. MV25.
All right, everyone. So that's an example of something we created using this CytoSolve technology. We just did a symposium this afternoon earlier, but I want to let everyone know that each one of you can use the same infrastructure to create scientific questions, ask them, research them. We will support you in doing that. So that's just an example of where we went end to end, doing the research, doing the mathematical analysis, and building it. But all of you can also use this. So get involved. And so in closing, everyone, number one, get one of these. If you're in the United States, Shiva for President. If you're outside of the United States, you can get that. You can also get one of these Truth, Freedom, Health banners. Go to vashiva.com. Come to the open house, as I mentioned. We do it every Thursdays at 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. Get involved, get involved, get involved. You have really no excuse anymore, okay? You can volunteer at Shiva for President to get us on the ballot. And for that, go to shivaforpresident.com. So get involved. All right, everyone. I hope this is valuable. But if you understand, in closing, in order to make a revolution, you have to understand what a revolution is. To understand what a revolution is, you have to understand what a system is. And then to understand what a system is, you can spend 20, 30, 40 years doing that. One way is you can get a book, System and Revolution, go to Truth, Freedom, Health, get involved in the community and learn, but this will expand your consciousness and you'll get very real about what's needed, who the agents of change are, and who is really going to make change. And it's going to come from us, bottoms up. Someone just said, I've been taking MV25 for 5 days. I believe it's working. Wonderful. All right, everyone. Truth, Freedom, Health. Get involved, get involved, get involved. Get off your butts and enjoy life by seeing yourself as an agent of change. But we need to get signatures to get on the ballot in every state. So please go do that. Be well.
We need to build a bottoms-up movement. Go to shivaforpresident.com and volunteer.